Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Gemology for Schmucks. My name is Peter Nelson. I'm here to guide you in everything you need to know about gemstones and jewelry. After one of my more recent videos on identifying gemstones in jewelry, one of the members of our community asked whether or not UV could be a fast way to distinguish stones. So what I would like to do is talk about this torch, what it can tell us and what it can't. And also what you should be looking for when you go to get your torch. So this is a three-way torch. This is the same one that I've been using since I began my gemological journey. I like to call it a three-way torch. If you want to call it a flashlight, do whatever you want. It's the same thing. But what this has is three different light sources. It's got a cool light source, or white, yellow light, or warm, and it's got UV. The cool and warm colors are useful for finding out whether or not a stone has color change. Because they are not full spectrum light, the different colors help us to see whether or not this stone is selectively absorbing color, which is what gives us what we perceive as a color change effect. The UV, on the other hand, is useful for detecting fluorescence. Particularly stones with a lot of chromium in them will fluoresce, such as ruby and spinel, whereas something like garnet will not. The red color of garnet is caused by a different source. So when you're doing general gemstone identification, having these three different light sources in one torch is very convenient. But to go back to the original question of, is UV a fast way to distinguish stones, particularly in a jewelry setting? And my short answer is no. If we're starting from assuming that we know nothing about this stone, fluorescence is actually going to tell us very little. After all, it could be spinel or ruby, two totally different stones that both fluoresce. Synthetic and natural corundum, or synthetic and natural spinel, will also both fluoresce. So from an identification point of view, fluorescence will not get you very far. If we were looking at rough from a mine, and we know that we have a large variety of mixed stones in there, and we're looking specifically for ruby or spinel, and we don't frankly care much about these red garnets, then having a UV light source is very useful. It's a fast way to rule out what you don't want, based on a knowledge of their properties. Red stone doesn't fluoresce? Not what I need. So this particular three-way torch is built like a tank. It's actually quite heavy. So if you dropped this one on a glass display case, the thing might explode. If you need some sort of Marshall compliance tool, I mean, it's useful. But otherwise, you can get by with something that's lighter and just as powerful. There are many different brands out there, but there's also one available from Saatchi Tools here in Bangkok. If you're not sure who to buy from, this is a good model. The version from Saatchi Tools is likewise equipped with three light sources. We have warm, cool, and long wave UV, toggled with a button on the back. Also located at the back is a USB-C charging port. This is how you will get juice back into your torch. And because powerful torches do use light quite aggressively, it's convenient also that they have a battery life indicator here on the side. To avoid light flooding everywhere and to help focus the beam, there's also a removable attachment that fits in right at the head of the torch. This is particularly helpful when inspecting rough, or for use with the spectroscope. It's a lot easier to set a stone in this position than to have the entire gaping face of the torch open. Stones can fall in, especially if you're dealing with smaller stones. Now, if I'm inspecting rough, there's actually another torch that I prefer. I like the Noble torch. This is only a single light source, very intense. So when you're inspecting rough, this is very useful to punch deeper into the stone, especially if there's some sort of a skin around the outside, or any pesky inclusions that might divert the light or scatter it inside of the stone. In the case of inspecting rough, we don't so much need multiple light sources as we do intense light so that we can see the interior of the crystal very well. This is important when evaluating the stone for whether or not it's viable for cutting and estimating what our final stone might be. Now, the people of Mogok have been dealing with many different types of rough crystals for a very long time, so I'll say that they're the experts on evaluating rough. Who else would you want to be making your torch? Now, these are not widely available, so if you're looking to get a hold of one, you would want to contact Gil Yuda. He works directly with the people in Mogok. It's a cottage industry, basically one family. And particularly with the situation in the country right now, it's very difficult to do business across the border. So if you're looking to have a much easier time getting a hold of one of these torches, please do contact Gil Yuda and support small business. Which brings me to another question that many people these days are concerned about. How can we be ethical when dealing with gemstones and basically any kind of business? And my answer is, invest in the community. People who are doing honest business providing a good product and are just living their lives as normal people are the ones that I want to support. And with gemstones, that basically means buying from people who live at the source, because the money that they earn from their transactions, they're going to invest back where they live. And frankly, I don't think there's any way to be more ethical than helping common people live their lives. But you do whatever you want. Thank you to the original commenter for their question. It's a common one that many of us have, but we really have to know about the properties of our stones. Oftentimes, the thing that seems easiest really isn't that easy. Otherwise, head over to gemshepherd.com where you can contact me directly. Hit like, hit subscribe, all of that stuff. Leave a comment down below. And until next time, bye-bye.